It's my immense delight to introduce the speaker of this keynote session, Professor Mariciel Teogangco. Professor Mariciel has her Doctor of Philosophy degree in Electronics Engineering and her PhD in ECE is ongoing. She holds a master's degree holder in Electronics and Communication Engineering, MS ECE. She also holds a postgraduate degree of Masters of Business Administration. Her specialization includes microelectronics, digital IC design, IC fabrication process. She's got a total 19 years of professional experience in the academia. She's also got 2 years engineering experience as a test engineer and process engineer. She's also a PACU COA accreditor and ISO 9001-2015 internal auditor since 2016. She is an auditor of Mechatronics and Robotics Society of Philippines National Chapter. Her professional affiliations include IEEE Women in Engineering, IASPER, ASC MEPESD Council. Right now at this moment, let me welcome Professor Mariciel to join us along with her presentation. Thank you.
Good day to all the listeners of the global webinar of Engineering, Science and Technology. I am Mariciel Teogangco from the University of Perpetual Help System Delta, Molino Campus, Philippines. And today I'll be discussing to you and presenting to you my talk about research and development in the Philippine setting and in the field of electronics engineering. So let me share the slide for you. Okay, so this conference theme is about the challenging technologies of post-COVID-19 era. So my webinar title is Research and Development in the Midst of COVID Pandemic. So let me first introduce to you my country, the Philippines. So the Philippines have 7,641 islands. And we are known for the beautiful beaches and also the friendly people in the Philippines. Here in the slide, you can see that the Philippines is very rich in its natural resources. And what I am proud about is that it's not only the natural resources that we have, it's also the beautiful and colorful festival, just like here in the picture in Nueva Ecija. And on the lower portion, you can see the beautiful sandbar in Leyte. Now, during the COVID-19 reported cases in January, now the map of the Philippines suddenly changes its color. So the color now here represents the confirmed COVID-19 cases by province. And the red indicates the most number of COVID-19. This is actually located in the National Capital Region. You can see here that there are 58% of the total cases are in the NCR region. So the total number of COVID patients or COVID cases is already in the 20,382 people. So this is updated as of June 4, 2020. So this was conducted by the Philippine Statistic Authority, and it is reported in the Department of Health. To look closer on the National Capital Region, you can see that this is actually the center of education, the center of the government, and also the economy of the Philippines. You can see Manila here, Quezon City, Makati. So it is really very hard to say that the economy is being struck very hard, because most of the cases, or these 20,000 cases, or 50% of it, is in the NCR. And we are very much concerned with the people now. The people have already in the 984 deaths as of June 4, but there are recoveries of 4,248. And just imagine of what will happen, or how many patients are there in the medical facilities and in the hospital. So there are so many cases that needs to be cured, and there is really a need for technology to assist this kind of a scenario. So the economy of the Philippines is very much affected. And just to have a basis, you have here the GDP of the Philippines in the 2019, wherein it has a 5.9 GDP. And since the NCR has so many cases, it is more than 50% or 58%, this 59 or 5.9 GDP is probably will not be reached by the end of 2020. So basically, the NCR is accountable for its 36% of the total GDP of the Philippines. Now, the major industry that plays an important role in the economy of the Philippines comes from the agriculture. Have here the agriculture. You have here the industry, which has an annual GDP of 4.9, and also services. In the services, you have here a 7.1. So all of this industry, major sector or major industry, has a big effect. It has, or the COVID-19 has a big effect on the industry of the Philippines. Now we go down to the economics on the goods or export goods. So Philippines have exported, majority of it are in the semiconductors, in the electronic data processing. And then these are 5 of the major export goods. Ignition wiring sets, you have the metal components, the control, instrumentation. But as you can see here on the graph, the commodity group, it's very large sector is the electronic products. You can see here, it is around 3,233.81 millions of US dollars in value. So the electronic industry or the semiconductor industry in the Philippines is very large. Now, how does the Philippines fight the COVID-19? Now, information is very important. This information must be in a real time being provided to local agencies or local government units in order to provide a faster and a decision making on basically in everything. So I'll be presenting to you some of the researches that has in the Philippines that provide supports to the government in order to have a better services. And this is called the FASTER, and it stands for Feasibility Analysis of Syndromic Surveillance using Spatiotemporal Epidemiological Modeler for earlier detection of diseases. Before it was used for COVID, it was used for different diseases, like in early detection of dengue and also typhoid fever and measles. And since there is a urgent need for identifying some COVID patients or COVID carriers, it now shifted to identification of the total number of COVID patients. So this is a flexible platform, and it uses mathematical analysis in order to visualize or model the different diseases, or in this case, it models the number of COVID patients or COVID cases. And this is also a web-based application. So this is an example of some of the illustration or graphic representation of the information that is being processed by the FASTER system. And another concern is the medical supplies. And since there are a large number of COVID patients are in the medical facilities, there should be a medical inventory, a more updated one, in order to better take care of this patient. So the information system of the supplies in terms of in the medical facilities is one of the important information. And one research is called the Tracing for Allocation of Medical Supplies, and it is also known as the TrAMS Plus. And in this project, you can see the different medical supplies: alcohol, surgical masks, disinfectants, gowns, gloves, and different resources that is used for the medical facilities. And this is also a web-based. This is being updated on a regular basis, and there are some location finder that you can see here. There are some numbers here, meaning there are hospitals here that has 11, and there are 16 in this area. There are 3 in this area, and then you can zoom it out, and then you can see where does this medical facilities is. And then when you click that hospital, you can view their medical supplies. So it is actually a crowd sourcing, and then it is also, so TrAMS is an online geographic system developed for tracking information regarding health facilities, medical resources. So this system relies on crowd sourced and volunteered information that may be used by government agencies, donors, and other interested parties as a tool for effective distribution of much needed resources. So if there are some resources being delivered to certain facilities with very much or in bulk or in large number, it might be there are some locations that much needed more medical resources. So this application or this system helps in monitoring the inventories of medical supplies. Okay, so the next one is on the nursing assistance. Since we all know that coronavirus is a contagious one, the health of our medical frontliner is really at risk. And there are some cases that doctors are also dying, and nurses uh, are also at risk. So there is really a need for this technology wherein you can assist these nurses. And it come about that the Lisa is a robot, which is a logistic indoor service assistant. It is a robotics, and it is an internet-based communication, and it has a mobile technology. So what is this Lisa? This Lisa is a robot designed to protect and ease the burden of health workers by lessening the risk as they attend to patients. Okay, so the Lisa is designed to assist healthcare provider by minimizing the physical and direct contact to their patients. So it lessens the interaction. It also reduces the use of PPEs. Okay, so the Lisa robot is a set of mobile base. It's a mobile base, and then it is controlled by a remote, and then it allows to move in different directions, and then it also allows communication with patients from a different location or remote places. So the robot also uses tablet device. So with an internet-based communication platform like Zoom, Viber, or FaceTime. So it could be a means of communication between the healthcare provider or the nurses and also the patients. So there is this set of barrier, or they are not directly in contact. So the nurses or the healthcare provider are being protected by it. So this is one of the simple robot that is implemented to support the nurses and medical healthcare provider. Next is on the detection and protection. So the determining of possible coronavirus carrier is also one of the important aspect of control. So just imagine if you're going to an establishment and you are being scanned, temperature scanning is being done one by one. So it will just result to a longer queue, and then it may also have crowding because of it will be a slow processing or a slow way of having the services. Now, this uh, project, Project DWARM, this is an AI powered thermal scanner drone swarm. So previously, just like the faster was used for other detection of diseases. This was also a project that is to be used for disaster search and rescue. Now, since there is a need for also detection of coronavirus carriers, so it was converted into this different based on the need. Now, before this DWARM, its purpose is to scan out, detect the bodies of survivors, if there are survivors in the area after a certain disaster or calamity happens. So it's a search and rescue. But now, it is now being used to identify possible coronavirus carriers. So the DWARM uses artificial intelligence. So it is also a drone technology. So it will flew around a certain area and it will be scanning the temperature of every individual that it surrounded. And then once there is a high temperature on a specific location, it will be identified and the location will be recorded on a database. So where was this implemented? So the AI drone thermal scanner was in assistance to some checkpoint frontliners, and it prevents the queuing in public places, and then it serves to have a social distancing and minimize the crowded lines. So it was implemented in major expressways, and it has the ability to scan up to 10 person at a time, and immediately it monitors the individual's temperature and it alerts the officials whether there is a high temperature in the scanned individuals, because it has a GPS, the location of the individuals is also determined. So this is one of a project by a school, and it was funded by the Department of Science and Technology to be mass produced and be deployed in different expressway. Okay. So the next one is, so that was during the COVID. So there are some researches that helps the local government in order to fight the COVID-19 in terms of the surveillance, in terms of medical assistance, in terms of supplies, information, inventories, and then also scanning or detection of possible coronavirus carriers. Now, how about in the post-COVID? So what are the research and development direction of the country? After we already announced that we are now in the general community quarantine, or possibly that most of the people can now go out. So of course there will be some limitation, some consideration to be followed, and then we call the new normal will be definitely be a challenging one, or a challenging phase in everyone's lives. So as an engineer, or as an electronics engineer, we are also responsible to provide solutions in terms of technology in order to recover and to adapt in this new normal. So one of the objective is to recover from the losses of the country's economy and to help also the community adapt to this new normal. So we have to consider some limitation, and then we need also to continue to live and to progress. So these are, I'll be showing to you, or I will be sharing to you the initiative of the government in order to um, encourage the researchers, scientists, and engineers to focus on this research. What are the directions? So basically the direction is digital transformation and robotics adoption. So I'm just talking about the electronics engineering field, but there are so many sectors that focuses on the post-COVID era. And then just in a few sectors in the electronics, you can see that there are space technology application, there are also robotics and artificial intelligence, and we are also engaged in sensors and actuators for intelligent factories. And another one is in the innovative, unmanned, and autonomous vehicle systems and application. Now, the research and development of the country is really diverse. Uh, but in the sector of electronics engineering side, you can see there that the development is more on the application of digitalization. Okay, so it is in the digital transformation. So we have to observe, or we have to accept the reality that there should be a social distancing. So manufacturers can no longer operate 100%, wherein their employees will be cut into 50% or maybe 30%. And then what will happen? So what happens is that it will reduce their manufacturing capabilities. So what will be the answer for that? So the answer for that is to provide solutions in terms of providing a remote control or a type of um, a sensor or a technology wherein they can still operate their factories even though they are at home or they're not really inside their factory. So we call that as smart factories. So it will be an AI base, a robotic base, a mechatronic base. So these are all in the sector of sensors, in the robotics, and in AI. So implementing it will be involving some internet base. It can also be a wireless communication base. So that is just one part of the uh, problem, and the solution is through this kind of technology. Just like in the Lisa, there is a robot, so uh, there is also a need for replacing some services and then replace it by a mechatronic ones or a robotic one. So you can see that in the Lisa, the nurses is being assisted by just a simple robot providing some services and communication. So that is just one example. And when there is a human risk, that is at stake. So it's better to have these robots to do those tasks. And then the space technology application is one of the new research and development of the Philippines. And one of the use of this space technology is to provide navigational system. And this focuses in the marine environment and also in different road, railway, and engineering application. And it also to be used for mapping and precision geographic information system or GIS. So these are all of the research and development focus of the Department of Science and Technology in the Philippines in the field of electronics engineering. I hope that I have shared to you some ideas and could be a possible topic or a possible research focus in the near future in your country. And I hope that I have provided some additional inputs to all of you. So thank you very much for listening. Again, I am Mariciel Teogangco. Here's my email address and my contact number. If you have any question, you can write me an email and then I'll be happy to answer it. So again, thank you very much and God bless you all.
Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation, madam. Thank you.